1545. The world trembles. Europe bleeds through religious wars. Christendom, once united, now lies divided. It was the time of the greatest rupture in church history, the Protestant Reformation. In 1517, Martin Luther broke with Rome, nailing his 95 Theses. Calvin, Zwingli, and others followed. They rejected tradition, denied the Pope, dismantled the sacraments, and scattered the one faith into thousands of private interpretations. Sacred scripture, once safeguarded in the heart of the church, was torn out and cast onto the battlefield of opinion. But the church, though wounded, did not remain silent. She rose, and she spoke. The Council of Trent was convened in the Italian city of Trento, a name that would become synonymous with fidelity and authentic reform. 18 years of labor, through wars, political threats, and imperial tensions. 3 phases, from 1545 to 1563, under Popes Paul III, Julius III, and Pius IV. And in the breath of the Spirit, the Church stood tall. Trent was the Church's doctrinal and pastoral answer to the Reformation, one of the most important councils in history. Not only did it refute heresies, it renewed the Church from her very foundations. Heresies were answered, while Luther cried, "Faith alone," Trent proclaimed, "Yes, faith, but faith alive, embodied in works of charity, as the Apostle James teaches." While Calvin saw only ruin in the human soul, Trent declared the truth of our wounded but redeemed freedom, capable of cooperating with grace, responding to love, and seeking holiness. Among its towering definitions, Trent became a beacon in darkness. Sacred tradition was placed alongside sacred scripture as a twin source of divine revelation. Original sin was defined in its nature, effects, and the necessity of baptism. Justification was clarified, a free gift of grace, requiring man's response in cooperation. The 7 sacraments were reaffirmed as true channels of grace, instituted by Christ. The real presence in the Eucharist was proclaimed with solemn clarity, not a symbol, but body, blood, soul, and divinity. And there the Tridentine Mass was born, a liturgy in Latin, facing east, facing God, reverent, sacred, silent. The altar became a throne, the priest a victim with Christ. Marriage was upheld as indissoluble, a sacrament of the union between Christ and the Church. Divorce? No, fidelity reflects the eternal love of God. The veneration of saints was reaffirmed, because where there is true love for Christ, there is love for those who reflect him. Relics and sacred images were defended, not as idols, but as windows to heaven, reminders that the Word became flesh, and that grace sanctifies matter. The Index Librorum Prohibitorum was created to guard the faithful from a flood of errors in the age of the printing press. And from Trent, the counter-reformation was born, not as a reaction, but as holy renewal. God raised up saints in answer to the reformers. Saint Ignatius of Loyola, with the Jesuits, brought the faith to universities and missions. Saint Charles Borromeo reformed dioceses and clergy. Saint Peter Canisius catechized Germany. Saint Teresa of Avila and Saint John of the Cross renewed the mystical life. And from the final decrees came a word that echoed like thunder. Placet, it is approved, the Church had spoken. And when the Church speaks in unity, she speaks with the voice of the bridegroom. Trent did not end in 1563. It lives on in every priest faithful to doctrine, in every Mass offered with reverence, in every soul who chooses adoration over noise. Trent is a lighthouse. Trent is a fortress. Trent is a cry through time. The Church does not bend to fashion, nor bow to culture. She is purified, and she remains. And even when the winds blow fierce, the bride of Christ stands tall. With white veil and heart on fire, she whispers through the ages, "You are Peter, and upon this rock I will build my church." Subscribe and discover the beauty of the Catholic faith.